Hi guys. So tonight's homework, you had a reading passage with no title. And there's a reason for that. Because one of the questions is going to ask you what you think the best title is. So I know we haven't done a video in a while, and it's been kind of a couple crazy weeks with all of our days off and midwinter break. So I'm going to read you the story. I'm going to stop when we find the answer to a question, and you need to make sure that you underline it so that you know where to find your evidence. It's really important that when you're answering questions in a text that you can go back and find your evidence. Okay? So let's read our questions first. That way we know what we're reading for. Question 1 says, what will workers probably do next? Which means that it's not going to be at the very beginning. It's going to tell us something they do in the beginning. And then it's going to ask, what would they probably do next after what we've read? Question 2, which question is the passage answer? Does it answer what caused the flooding? How does an aquarium get its animals? What upsets an octopus? Or how much water does a tank hold? So we're going to be reading through those questions again when we're done to figure out what question got answered. Question 3, what is the passage mostly about? What is the main idea? If you had to go and tell me, oh, Miss Mannering, last night for homework we read about, what would that one sentence be? And question 4, what's the best title for the passage? Which is going to connect with that main idea, because you wouldn't have the title for a story about a zoo. You wouldn't have the title be how to make chocolate chip cookies, right? And then start writing about a zoo. Wouldn't make any sense. So you have to make sure that the title you choose best fits the passage. So we're going to start reading first paragraph. An aquarium is a building with a lot of water in a lot of tanks. People go there to see the water animals and plants that live in the tanks. One morning, workers arrived at an aquarium in California. They were ready for work, but they were not ready to mop. But that's what they had to do. Water was all over the floor outside the shark tank and the ray tank. Water squished under the workers' shoes as they walked. There was no leaks or broken tanks. What caused the flood? The troublemaker turned out to be an 8-armed creature. The small octopus lived in its own tank, and it weighed only 1 pound. But it was curious and quite active, too. During the night, the octopus crawled out to the top of its tank. It pulled out a tube that was bringing in water, and the tube sprayed seawater outside of the tank. The water flowed for almost 10 hours. About 200 gallons spilled onto the aquarium floor. That's a big mess for a 1-pound octopus. So 1 pound, that's like the weight of both of your shoes together. So if you hold your shoes together, that's about how heavy this octopus is. And so it's a pretty small creature, but it leaked 200 gallons of water. So if you look at your gallon of milk that's in your fridge, times that times 200. That's how much water was all over the floor from this octopus. So what will the workers probably do next? They walked in and they're like, man, where did this water come from? There's 200 gallons of water all over the floor and made a huge mess everywhere. They found it's because the octopus pulled a tube out of his tank and the water started spraying everywhere. What would they do next? Would they make the visitors clean up the mess? Would they fix the tubes in the tanks so they cannot be pulled out? Would they never display the octopus again? Put him in timeout forever? Or would they wait to see what the octopus will do? Are they just going to sit and stare at him? Just be like, I wonder what he's going to do next. Maybe he'll make a bigger mess. How would they solve this problem so that it wouldn't happen again? So, I can probably rule out that they're not going to make the visitors clean it up. Can you imagine if you paid to go to an aquarium and you're like, wow, I can't wait to see the octopus. It's going to be so great. And they hand you a mop. You're like, nope, now you have to clean it up. They're not going to do that, right? So we can cross out A. That's something that they're not going to do. But we need to make an inference. We need to infer what they might do to solve the problem. Fix the tubes in the tank so they can't be pulled out. That way the octopus can't do it again that night, make a bigger mess. Never display the octopus again. Or wait to see what the octopus will do. Which do you think is the best fit for what those workers might do? Question 2, what question does the passage answer? What caused the flooding? Do we know what caused the flooding? How does an aquarium get its animals? Did it tell us how they got their animals? Or even what animals this aquarium had? What upsets an octopus? Did it say why he tore it out or if he was upset? And how much water does the tank hold? It does tell us that about 200 gallons spilled on the floor, but it wasn't from a tank. It was from a tube that was putting water into the tank. So we don't know that that's exactly how much would fill the tank. It could be more than that, or it could be less. So I would cross out D, and I would cross out C. We don't know what upsets an octopus. It didn't tell us why he did it, right? It just said that he did sometime during the night. And how much water does the tank hold? We can't really determine that because it just tells us how much water was on the floor, not how much was in the tank. So it means it's got to be A or B. A says what caused the flooding. Do we know what caused the flooding? Do we know what creature decided to pull a tube out and make the water spray everywhere? And how does the aquarium get its animals? It tells us that an aquarium is a building with a lot of water and a lot of tanks, and that people go there to see animals and plants that live in them. But it doesn't tell me how they got those animals. So I want you to think about that. Pause the video or rewatch this part if you need to really figure out what question that answers. You have to make an inference. It doesn't tell you exactly in there the question it answers is. You have to infer it. Which one did you learn from this? Question 3. What is the passage mostly about? An aquarium in California? An aquarium's problems with flooding? An octopus that floods in an aquarium? Or an octopus that swims out of its tank? It is about an aquarium in California, but does it tell us about the whole aquarium? It doesn't tell us about the whole thing. It tells us about one tank and one octopus. So it's not just about the aquarium. An aquarium's problems with flooding. It does tell us about the problem and that it was flooding. An octopus that floods an aquarium. It does tell us about the octopus, and it tells us that he flooded the aquarium. Or an octopus that swims out of his tank. In the text, it doesn't say he swam out. It says that he stayed in there. He just took the tube out of the tank. So looking at those choices, I know it's got to either be B or C. So then I have to think. I've got to go back and reread and figure out, what does it tell me more information about? Does it tell me more information about the aquarium's problems with flooding, like what problems it caused or if it ruined anything? Or does it tell me more about the octopus that caused the flooding and how he caused it? Okay, so that's question 3. If you need to pause and reread and think about it, go ahead and do that now. And question 4. Which is the best title for the passage? Accidents happen, a curious creature, a cutesy creature, or cleaning up a flood? So, accidents happen. I don't know that the octopus pulling out this tube was quite an accident. I think he did it on purpose. I think he was bored. So we can probably cross off that one. A curious creature. The text does say that, and if you look in paragraph 3, it says it only weighed 1 pound, but it was curious and quite active too. We're going to underline that part. It was curious and quite active in paragraph 3. So it does tell me that the octopus is curious. And why was he curious? Because he pulled this tube out and wanted to see what would happen. A cutesy creature. If you were one of those workers and you had to clean up 200 gallons of water all over the floor, would you think the octopus was cute? I probably wouldn't at that point. So I would cross out C. And cleaning up a flood. It does tell us there's a flood. It tells us the workers, we can infer that the workers are going to have to clean it up next. But it doesn't tell me about the process of cleaning up the flood. So thinking about those choices, you've got to think about which one best fits the story. So cross out A and C. And you're left with 2 choices. Thinking about which one is the better fit. All right. Now, as always, if you don't understand, you're still not quite getting it, rewatch the video, rewatch it as many times as you need. If you're still not quite there, then in the morning, you have our amazing counselors to help you in the cafeteria and the paras that are in there also. Or if you are an after-school program, you can definitely do this with Mrs. Skiles today after school. But you're probably watching this video after that. So, all right. I will see you tomorrow. Make sure that spelling gets done. Spelling is also due tomorrow if you stay with me for reading. So make sure that both sides of that paper are done and you're ready for the spelling test. Also, if you have not signed up for the Kids Heart Challenge, it ends this week. Last day is tomorrow. So there's a video on same channel. If you click my face where my channel marker is next to Miss Manring, then go look for the Kids Heart Challenge. It's so easy. When I did the video, I literally hadn't seen the website before. It only took me 5 minutes to figure it out and talk through it. You can do it too, because the class that gets the most kids signed up gets a free recess pack with things like jump ropes and bouncy balls for outside and stuff like that. And if you want more recess equipment, then we've got to sign up. It doesn't cost anything, okay? So make sure you get signed up for that tonight, because tomorrow is the last day and we want to win it, and we're tied for a second. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.